makeup loving friends, how's it going? You know what time it is. We're here to talk about the new makeup releases because I have been assured it has been a whole week. So we have a week's worth of stuff, and my God, do we ever have a lot of stuff to talk about this week. With me, I have the gorgeous, beautiful, magnificent, glorious Tia. You know the drill. All of her details are down below. Go check her out. She's fabulous. We're going to head into some little general announcements first. We have talked about Moira Cosmetics quite a bit on this channel, kind of being filled with lust. Turns out Jolie Beauty, which is a UK brand, are now stocking them. So it's going to be a little bit easier for us to get our little mitts on that.
Ooh.
Exciting, yeah. Suva Beauty has been rebranded to Collab. Not really sure. They say it's like due to cosmetics reasons that they're rebranding. Then Garnier put this onto their Instagram. They said that all of their stuff are now officially cruelty-free as approved under the Leaping Bunny program. And the fabulous Pie of Pidonia, who is quite frankly, I think the sleuth amongst us, she tagged me in this, and she just wanted to show that Huda are showing real skin on models. And I'm like, yes, fantastic. Anyways, you know the whole thing. I have loads of people to thank because if you guys didn't tag me, well, it'll be a pretty darn short show. So big thank you to Brianna, Ali, Beth, Gillian, Nisha, Missy, Jade W, Brogan, Cecily, Cheryl, Susie, Shanna, Daniela, Emily, Sue, Franca, Anna, Pia Pidonia, Lisa H, Becky, Haley, Chrissy, Heather P, Sarah DY, Kat, Kelly, Gina, Tina, Paula, Luce, Annie, Tia, Amina, Louise, Makeup Release Radar, Eve, Alexis, Kim, Hannah Louise, Rebecca, Jade S, Manuela T, Anna C, Inez, Romy, Sonia, Laura, Amy Louise, Wilma Fingerdo, Amanda, Janine, Angela, Kerry, Rhea, April, and Kerry. That's definitely the most people I've ever thanked. You know the drill. Huge thank you to my Patreons. You're a fabulous bunch of people, and I don't tell you enough. So this is your weekly dose of thanking you. You'll get no more. That's all you get. You know?
A weekly dose of thank you.
Yeah. And our own Rebecca, you might have noticed she hasn't been on for a while. That's because she has been super busy. She's currently on her honeymoon. That's right. She got hitched. So huge congratulations to Rebecca and Andrew. Yay!
Congrats.
But we also have a lot of birthdays this week. So happy birthday to Tia, who is here this week. Hurrah! And a happy birthday also to Lisa, to Kirsten. Kirsten's birthday is actually the exact same day as yours, Tia. And also a big happy birthday to Jordan and Hagar. Massive, massive happy birthday. Very much appreciated.
Happy birthday to me and everyone.
Yes, pretty much.
To me, barely. No.
Well, that kind of brings us on nicely to the theme that Tia messaged me and she was like, it's my birthday week, can I choose the theme? And I was like, well, yes, obviously it's your birthday week. You just burst into this world in a glorious fashion from your mother's vagina, and now we have you. That's how we should always refer to birthdays. So I was like, yes, you choose the theme. And Tia had been watching my video on Daniela doing my makeup, and we had this whole conversation about Tia saying who is she? And that I was perplexed.
Where's she from?
But
Where
I'm
am
always
I?
perplexed that you never answer the question. And I was sitting there kind of going, eh. So Tia said, that's our theme, the who is she, the feeling yourself, just feeling empowered and confident and gorgeous.
Yeah.
So obviously Tia did that very well. I don't know what I did, but I smooshed a lot.
You did so well. I love that eye look. It's like whenever you glue things on your eyes, it's like, oh, like look at all those pretty shiny things there.
When in doubt,
and green,
yourself.
like obviously green.
It's like, oh, what palette will I use? The Underworld. When in doubt, I just keep going to that palette. Like, it's ridiculous. Anyways, you know the drill. I'm going to show you some of my Patreon's fabulous pictures on this as well. Darn them. Of course, thankfully this week, all of them were very untalented. So finally I felt better about myself, JK. They were all really annoyingly good. So just anymore. I should just have them flattering photos. But that means we're getting into the whole thing. There's loads to talk about. I had hoped maybe we'd have a week without Revolution, but I got tagged in this a lot. It was kind of announced during the week that Makeup Revolution were collaborating with The Simpsons, who of course are super well known for makeup. Add that to the list of Revolution collaborations that makes zero sense. But they were like, this is our Halloween one because of the Simpsons Treehouse of Horrors. And they came out with a whole chunk of stuff. There's like a big palette, there's some smaller palettes, highlighters, brushes, look, all that sort of thing. Can I say, you know, when you look at, I'm glad they're at least demoing like a model with like a darker skin color to swatch things on. However, those swatches look really chalky.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like hate the big palette. It's not the worst thing in the world, but it's so wide. Like there's like mid-tones, light tones, like there's not a single dark color in there.
This reminds me very, very much of the Sample Beauty Painter's palette.
What? I'm so confused because the two pictures look different. Like the last row with the pinks, and on the bigger picture where you got everything, it shows that there's two light shades next to the pinks and purples, like the last two shades. But then when you see the close-up picture, there's like a darker, like a browny, cool toned brown, and then like a light tone. So I'm like,
yeah, this is essentially the theme this week, as you can probably tell from the title, where the pictures aren't quite matching the products. I don't know if that's like just a mistake on their part or what's going on.
Yeah, maybe the bigger picture was taken ages ago, and then they were like, oh, we better add like one darker color there, like to deepen out. And then I don't know, I'm just like, which is it now? Do we get one darker color or not?
Yeah, I hope it is the darker color because it makes more sense with it. That being said, I don't think it's an interesting palette. Like I'm like, ugh. And then the smaller palettes,
I don't know. This is not for me.
No, same.
I mean, I do like Simpsons. I watched it like years and years. I do like it, but it's not like I'm not obsessed with it.
Yeah.
Also, like, I don't know. It's just like, this doesn't scream Simpsons to me. This could be any collection, you know. Just slap on a name there.
Yeah, to be fair though, I don't really know what you could do to make it scream The Simpsons.
Yeah. Maybe let's like, I don't know. I was thinking like yellows, like a yellow tone palette with different like, and maybe with the pop of blue and like the hair color. I don't know.
They kind of have that. They have some yellows and blues in there. So, I don't know. I just don't get it as a collaboration. And I think it's just, I don't get collabs like this. Like it doesn't mesh in my head. I mean, it's not the worst thing they've done. My God, the cereal collaboration, the collab within a collab, that was weird.
Yeah.
But when I put it to you guys first, because we obviously had no information on the products, I just sneak peeked that they were coming out with something. 33% of you said that you were intrigued, while 67% said terrified. And then when it was actually shown what it was, that figure then changed to 29% loving it. So we've talked about Urban Decay like 5,000 times already in the last year or so, where we're like, we really want them to do better. And I actually did like a little collab with Chloe Demure on her channel, where we were saying, you know, Urban Decay almost need to go back to their roots. And it was like we were kind of listening in that they went back to their packaging roots. Like the packaging is fabulous, but that's about it. Like the color story is like,
didn't they do like that type of packaging? Was it like a Pirates of the Caribbean or something that was almost exactly the same?
Yeah. They had something quite like that for Pirates of the Caribbean, and they also had something like that for Game of Thrones.
To me, I don't want like, why do I want some like cardboard flippy things on my palette? Like you can do so amazing packaging that doesn't need to be unnecessary. Like this is just not necessary to have those like poppy cardboard thingies there. Like who's gonna like open them up and when you do your makeup like play with those and like just maybe it's just for collectors, but for me I'm like, why? I'm gonna have to pay extra for this, and I rather not. I'm not buying it. No. But like, you're gonna have to pay extra for that kind of packaging.
Oh yeah. And that's probably why this is coming with the price tag of $65.
Yeah. Also, isn't that palette like a very toned down like a version of Lunar Beauty's Eternal? Is it Eternal Eclipse? The like gray blue palette.
Yeah, but not as
Because
interesting.
kinda has like the same vibes. Like it's not the same by any means. Like Lunar Beauty's is like way better.
Yeah.
But like it has like the blues and the warm tones in the middle and like a little bit kind of that vibe.
Well, this for me, when I look at it, I see a less interesting ABH subculture, particularly in the bottom two rows. It feels very like lackluster, and then of course they have like highlighters in those weird shapes, which kind of look, you know, that generally annoys me. I think out of all of the stuff that I would possibly be interested in, it would be like the eyeliners, but even then that's at a little bit of a push. I think they've just gone all out in terms of the packaging, but haven't really thought about
like imagine how pretty like blue and gold and like mustardy palette you could have done with that, go with that packaging, and then you go with like this. Well, I'm not even surprised anymore. Like, I'm not even disappointed anymore because Urban Decay just does this.
Yeah.
They fall out of radar. They don't know what they're doing anymore.
Oh yeah, it's totally expected. But do you know what the sad thing is? The pop-up of that palette is more interesting than the inside of the palette itself.
Yeah.
And you can get that in a children's book.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, lads, but it's, I'm kind of frustrated with them. I'd like them to do better. When I look at your guys' actual final opinion on it, it was 22% love it, 78% meh. Then we have Adept Cosmetics, and this is their Amulet New palette, and it's coming out for $56. The amount of messages I had coming into my DMs about this looking like the ABH Jackie Aina palette was bananas. And once it was I will say the swatches look absolutely like so beautiful, so pretty. And I believe our lovely girl Keisha is a big fan of Adept Cosmetics, so she really rates them in terms of their quality. For us, it's a little bit trickier getting them, but I like the color story. That being said, I have the ABH Jackie Aina, so I already have quite a bit of that.
That's a bit too neutral for my liking, but I do like the purples in there. Like that there seem to be like some duochromes and like it's nice. It's not for me, but it's nice.
Yeah, it's a wearable, semi-colorful palette. I will say it's very appropriate for this time of the year because it is that kind of more wearable, like autumn sort of color story. But when I put it to you guys, you had similar opinions because 33% of you said love it, while 67% said not for me. Then Jolie Beauty have come out with this particular collection. It's the Vampirism collection, so it's all around, you know, their Halloween stuff. So they have an eyeshadow palette for $53. They have a matte lipstick bundle. They're $58. So it doesn't seem that you can get the lipsticks like separately, which is a bit of a pity, I think. Do you know, this feels like a palette that I have seen before. Like, I feel, isn't there a palette by Morphe that has a lot of like red and green tones in it?
Yeah, this is pretty. But if I could get it with the two first neutral rows, I would be all over this. I feel like it's really pretty color story. I like the like purples and like I would like a little bit more greens maybe in there.
Yeah,
I do like it. I don't know anything about Jolie Beauty, so I feel like it's very appropriate like fall palette. Those are exactly the colors you're gonna get.
Yeah, it's funny though because it's like a vampirism palette, and I'm like, I don't really see that with the exception of like those red kind of shades. Like the very right hand side of the palette, I'm like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But the left hand side of the palette, I'm like, I'm not really seeing that there.
Yeah.
That being said, I think it's a pretty decent palette, and I know that our girl Tess has also tried Jolie Beauty, and she reckons they're good quality. So, you know, that's something to consider. I look at this and I think it's not as good or not as versatile as, say, the BPerfect Antidote palette.
Yeah.
That being said, I think I prefer the reddish portion of this.
Yeah, I kind of like more of some of the tones in
Yeah,
this.
of course the
Oh,
lipstick.
also that nude lip color, like
Yeah.
a cool toned nude, is so pretty.
Oh, I agree. And look, I'm looking at the reds because I'm an idiot and I'm like, how many reds can I have? All of them. It's a trick question. All of them. Like, it's not a bad collection. And I think they were smart because obviously they were going for a Halloween thing, but they didn't want to go like Halloween themed. Like, this is something that you can wear throughout the rest of the season. And when I put it to you guys, actually, 39% of you loved it and 61% said not for me. Then we have BH Cosmetics with a very odd collaboration with Doja Cat. I say odd because, well, I think it's quite expensive for what it is. When you're looking at the quads are $14 each. The eyeshadow palette is $36, which I think is one of like BH's most expensive kind of things that I've seen them do to date.
I feel like, yeah.
Yeah, the big palette reminds me a bit of the Wet n Wild Bretman Rock Jungle Rock palette a little bit. Not entirely, but there's some parallels.
It's like, it's nice, but it's like, I feel like it's too big.
Yeah.
That is not what she said. But like, I just feel like if it was more curated, color story, I would like it more. I'm watching the blush palettes, the one with the yellow and the orange, and I'm like, oh yeah, those are pretty, but I don't want to buy like a blush palette. I wish they would have had like the orange and then the yellow blush in the same, and then I could have had either of those on the orange palette, like maybe the lighter one, like the more like mustardy. I don't want to buy two because I like one color each, so probably not gonna get them, but I do like. I don't like any of the 4 pans. I feel like they're just meh, very light.
Yeah, the quads feel very like blah, and like I get you're going for like a monochromatic theme, that's fine, but there's nothing kind of special in there, and to warrant a $14 price tag seems an awful lot for that for BH. Also, can we talk about the weird brushes?
I feel like the like packaging and some of the like choices are very tacky. They look very cheap to me. Yeah,
which is funny because it has so much a higher of a price tag than BH would normally have. So it's like, huh? But like the amount of people who messaged me about the brushes and were like, they look like anal beads, and I was like, they do. They really do. They look like the wand of like a sex toy or something, which like grand, fair enough, but I don't get it. Like, none of this is particularly interesting for me. Yeah. When I put it to you guys, 26% of you said that you wanted it and 74% of you said not for me. Kind of half wondering if that a lot of you guys are around about my age that are watching, and maybe you're just not into Doja Cat as well, so you're kind of like, hey? Yeah. Because I'm not very good with pop culture, but there you go. We then have Bella Beauty blog, and this is their Poison Garden collection. It's an 18 pan eyeshadow palette, 10 buttery soft mattes. Sorry, I'm like salivating looking at this. Yeah. 5 duochrome shimmer shades, 1 unique pressed glitter, 1 velvety shimmer shade, and 1 diamond shimmer shade. And that came out yesterday on September the 29th. Oh, this is beautiful. Really pretty palette. I love the color story. It's beautiful. It's very well thought out. Do you know what it reminds me of? In a way, the ColourPop Raw Beauty Christie at Forest Sight palette, but elevated. Because it's that same sort of like grungy but jewel tones. Yeah. And I'm like, oh. Just a little hesitant. I don't know anything about this brand. Like when I see these things, like I want to like, sometimes with indie brands, I like to have some kind of a feeling that somebody that I know or watch or follow have tried them, because it's like there's so much. I'm not saying that this is it, but there's so much like white labeling, just people who don't care about it's just after the money, and like this doesn't look like it. I like the color story a lot. I feel like it's really pretty, but it's just like I haven't heard anything about the brand, so I'm a bit hesitant. I am intrigued by this quite a bit. This is definitely my color story. It did make my heart rate increase a little bit. Almost like the pre-coital flutter, you know? You're like, getting a little bit turned on. But probably shouldn't say that about makeup. But then again, there's so many makeup brands that do want us to think about makeup and sex. So
yeah.
I think this is beautiful. And the swatches just look gorgeous. It's my kind of thing. I will also say, based upon some of the swatches, those kind of minty, greeny, tealy bits and the reds, gives me some Melt Muerta vibes.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah, so I find this very, very interesting. I like it. And Tia did tag me in this because she knows me. And she was like, let's talk about this. When I put it to you guys, 57% of you selected the drooling emoji, which I'm assuming means you want it and not that you like need help after eating. Because I don't provide that service. Like, maybe I will one day at a cost, but not right now, friends, not right now. This is Proloquox Cosmetics, and this is their Hello Autumn eyeshadow palette. It's $12.99, and apparently they had a sale on where they had like 22% off, which seemed very, very specific, so you could get it even cheaper than that, which does make me kind of wonder what's the story with this brand. Again, you all slid into my DM, because a lot of you tagged me in this, so this is your fault that we're talking about this. This was not my choice, but the amount of people who then when they saw in my stories went, Huda?
Yeah, this looks like an AliExpress Huda-ish do that is like, we're gonna try to make it look like Huda. And there's like those weird shades and the COVID looking shade and like
it does feel like reality versus expectations sort of.
Yeah, this is just the thing that I was talking about with the previous palette. Like, I don't trust like any indie brand just because they have products. Like, this just looks like to me that they found a palette on AliExpress, slapped their logo in there, and they're like, oh, we're gonna sell it for $12.99 and it only cost us 1 penny to buy.
Like, I mean, AliExpress is cheap, but it's not that cheap. Like, I am tempted to go onto Alibaba and just see what the story is. Do they have, like, I do this sometimes where if, insomnia is hitting, that I go through Alibaba and I'm like, oh, what's being sold there? And sometimes then, like a few months later, I see indie brands coming out with this thing that you can bulk buy on Alibaba, and I'm like,
aren't we over these Huda palette dupes?
Oh, particularly with that weird, stupid, stressful COVID shade. I just can't. I can't.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Anyways, I'll put it to you guys, and 14% of you said that you love it, and I am very worried.
Yeah, I'm concerned about you guys.
Yeah.
Who said you love it?
Yeah.
I'm assuming that it is that you thought it was a Huda palette and you were like, oh, I like Huda. And you're going to click, oh, I love it.
Yeah, even then though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have Makeup Pharmacy, and this is their Beauty Rituals palette. It's coming out October the 15th, so not quite out yet, and it's going to be $30. It's a very cool toned purpley palette.
Really stunning. I love the aesthetic of the picture. It's so pretty. I like the colors in it. I like the presentation. It's not that expensive. It has some deeper, lighter colors and shimmers. I love it. If this wasn't available, like I could get it more easily, I would probably look if I could get it.
Yeah, I think this is really nice. And like you said, they've marketed it really, really well. Like just the pictures, the branding, everything is really on point. The color is really good. Yeah, and I also like that there's a good mix between mattes and shimmers. The 7 mattes, 5 shimmers. I like that. I like minimum and even split. So to me, that is actually quite a nice one. But when I put it to you guys, are you all right? Only 30% of you said that you wanted it.
What? No, I think here what's happened is people are like, oh, I'm bored of all of these purple monochrome palettes. I'm gonna say not for me, but I actually want it, but I don't, or like, or people know it's from US and they just said not for me because they can get it.
I love how you're like justifying it and you're like, no, they don't actually mean it. That's not the correct statistic at all. People don't like purple monochromatic palettes. And I want you to remember that you basically said that for this next one. Because now we're on to Glamlite, who had, I don't know what was going on this week. And this was one of the things that Make Release Radar actually sent me in a DM. So thank you very much. Much appreciated. The first thing that they came out with was that green palette. It was their Dirty Martini palette, a whole bunch of greens. Then they came out with a purple monochromatic palette. It was almost like one day after another. There was another thing and another thing and another thing. Now we're just talking about the eyeshadow palettes because that was the stuff that I got tagged in. There are other things like highlighters and lip glosses and stuff, but there wasn't as much interest in that. But there's the purple eyeshadow palette, which I believe is like the winery one. Then there's a brown one, which is the chocolate martini. And then the latest one, because I think they're only coming out with 4.
I think it launched already.
Yeah, they came out with all of these, and then there was the margarita palette.
I have some top. The green palette. I like the purple palette. I even like the margarita something. Only palette that I'm not so into is the chocolate. But why does it have to be alcohol theme? Like we've talked about this a lot. Also, why am I paying extra for that? Like bottle, dirty martini or wine bottle case that's gonna come with the palette. I don't want that. I don't want to pay extra for that. Give me a option to get it if I want it or not. But I think it's a good launch. Glamlite is like they're doing really great.
Yeah, they're definitely like an up and coming. What I mean, I also have thoughts on this as well. I've noticed an increasing similarity with Glamlite's palettes and previous palettes of Jeffree Star.
Yeah.
So they had their red velvet palette, which was very much like the Blood Sugar. And now we're looking at this Dirty Martini palette. It looks very much like the Blood Money.
It's almost like an exact dupe.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, I don't love it when brands dupe each other. Even if it is duping a problematic brand, I mean, not the rules, but like the principles still actually apply to some extent.
Like change it even a bit, like coming with another twist. Don't do like this actually, like if you're gonna put side by side the Blood Money and the Dirty Martini, they're gonna look so similar. You're gonna get the exact same looks with them. So like I would like them to like have a bit of their own ideas.
Yeah, they do. That's the thing. And it's all food based usually.
Yeah, and isn't the wine palette like kind of similar with the red pop with the like what's it called, the purple
Bloodlust?
Yeah. So also I feel like the margarita palette reminds me of the ColourPop Barbie.
Yeah, I can see that even with the packaging.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, they're grand, but I'm kind of like, they came out with so much, it feels like they didn't need to. And then particularly, look, I mean, you said it yourself, the whole custom case, drink case thing, I think that is just ridiculous and wasteful. Like, planet is dying, we don't need more tat to put into a landfill. That's just silliness. Like if it doubled up as something else, grand, but it doesn't. But here's the thing, right? If you look at, they had a picture at one point on their Instagram, and it was like the countdown for when this was going to be released. And they had like all of the palettes out along with like the highlighters and bits and pieces. But if you look down at the palettes didn't really look like the palettes that they had actually initially shown us. Like the green palette didn't look like the green palette anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't. It looks like a blue, yellow, pink palette. Doesn't look green at all.
Yeah, it was
like I'm confused. Is it the lighting in these pictures that's throwing it off? What are you actually gonna get?
But that's the thing, like, and that always makes me really, really nervous. And there's a fabulous Instagram account, which actually Emily, the fabulous Emily, I wanted Emily on today, but unfortunately she wasn't feeling well. So myself and Emily have had like a lot of conversations on this, and she sent me kind of a picture on this from Missile Anais from their Instagram stories. And this is like, they have taken like a screenshot of the palette from Glamlite's own story versus same palettes from their feed. And they don't look alike.
I'm
like,
so confused.
Yeah, the brown palette looks pink. The green palette then looks more bluey browny.
Yeah.
Ew. So I'm a bit confused about, is it just that one has proper lighting and one doesn't have proper lighting, or what's going on?
Yeah, I'm thinking that does it because these pictures with just the one palette on their self, like the martini, the wine, they have like it looks that they have like an overcast of like green over it, an overcast of purple, and so on and so on. So is that gonna change how the palette looks? So is it gonna look totally different? Yeah, that's not a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were really enthusiastic about it, because Makeup Release Radar actually tagged me in the green one, because they were like, yeah, we think you'll like this. It's like, god damn it, you know me, I like green. But between the alcohol theme, etc., it just isn't for me. But 65% of you said that you wanted that. 72% of you said that you wanted the purple one. So that's a direct contradiction to what you said earlier to you. I'm like, people don't want a purple monochromatic palette. They don't want to ship it from the States. Sauce. The data's saying otherwise. And then 37% of you said that you liked the more brown palette, and then it was a 50-50 split in terms of the margarita palette. So I do think actually, even as they were releasing more and more, the enthusiasm started to wane.
Yeah.
And people were like, you are not ColourPop. You are not Revolution. Do not come out with 5,000 things. Like, either show us all of them in one go, or don't drip feed it. It was a weird way to present it, in my opinion. But yeah, there you go. We're having deja vu again because it's ColourPop, and they're trying to convince us that this isn't something that we've seen already, even though I'm like, lads, no, I have seen this. Don't get me wrong, I love monochromatic palette, but ColourPop, there are other things that you can do.
Yeah, pictures that I've seen, I actually like the color story. It's just the thing that this isn't anything new from them. It's like every week we go through the same thing. Like, they're just duping themselves over and over and over again, and it's like, why do we need 10 million dupes of the same thing you already have? Like,
do you know what it reminds me of?
Pointless.
You know when you have like a small kid and they draw you something like a house for the first time, you're like, oh my god, that's so amazing, well done, I'm gonna put it on the refrigerator, we're gonna frame it, it's amazing. And then they go and they make you another picture of a house, and you're like, oh, that's so lovely, well done. You're not as enthusiastic, but you're still reinforcing. And then the 50th time they give you a picture of a house, you're like, come on, kids.
The 50th time.
do something else. ColourPop is that kid that is just drawing the same thing over and over again, and they're like, we got reinforcement for it the first time, everyone fucking wet themselves for it the first time. Because I remember when they started coming out with their monochromatic palettes, and everyone was like, oh my god, this is amazing. And now it feels like they're just like, well, this is the thing we do, this is our brand's thing. And I was like, well, it doesn't have to be.
Yeah,
look, I've seen it before. Stop trying to sell me excess stock. I don't want it and I don't need it. And when I put it to you guys, 22% of you said that you love it. Again, they have more stuff. This is stuff that is just coming to Ulta. So they have a couple of 9-pan eyeshadow palettes. Yeah, like even there, one of those palettes.
This is one of the Ulta exclusives.
Yeah.
that they come out like maybe a year ago. They have like the Barrack and like one of those. And look at the gray palette. Then look at this.
Yep.
Tell me it's not the exact same palette with like maybe a couple of different like tossed around shades.
Oh yeah.
You know, this is nothing new. Like this
But even-
infuriates me.
But even like the purple palette that they're showing there, there's
Yeah.
striking resemblance to the other purple palette they've come out with this week.
Yeah.
Like, stop it, lads. Like, this is ridiculous. Just
It's
so
like in this day where we have so much stuff already and like we overproduce things, like could we not just like in the brand themselves, like I know that it's fun to have dupes of things, but you don't have to dupe yourself. It's pointless.
So we're sending this memo to ColourPop, but Revolution, could you please listen to this as well?
Yeah.
Like, I would really appreciate it. Yeah, and I think a lot of you guys are getting tired with it as well, because this was actually a really low score. 8% of you said that you loved it. This was, you were quite fierce on that, so that was interesting. Yeah. Then we have Glossier and their monochromatic palettes. There's quite a couple of different ones, but they're essentially trios. They're $22, but if you get the refill, it's $18. I have so many thoughts on this. One, why have the trio in that shape? There's wasted space. Just make it a long rectangle, please. That makes more sense. 2, you have no depth. This makes no sense. 3, you missed a trick. This shouldn't have been eyeshadow. It should have been face, like blushes. Right?
I hate this with a passion. I don't think that there's not like a single good thing about this release.
But tell me this, right? If you saw that orangey trio of different finishes, the matte, the shimmer, etc.
It looks like a blush palette.
Yes, thank you. If you saw that as a blush palette, would you buy it?
Yeah, well, possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just so bad. And also, like, why are they so light? And like, I don't even want to talk about this because this is trash, in my opinion.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, I think they really missed a trick on this one. It was very poorly thought out. And again, you guys eviscerated this. 5% of you said that you loved it. That's a similar stat to when Hourglass came out with their shadows.
I think this 5% is even like it was an accident.
Yeah.
Like there was something happening there and they weren't focusing and they accidentally pressed it. And then they probably felt horrible afterwards. And
they're now questioning their life choices. I love that Tia is questioning the statistics of like, that doesn't seem quite correct.
I don't believe you.
She's like that researcher who's like, okay, we found that this thing doesn't actually impact this thing, but it's probably because of the way the experiment was run. And if we did it in a different way, we get this. And I'm just like, oh my God, trust the statistics. Which just makes me laugh, if nothing else. Then we have quite a few things coming from Huda, actually. Well, Glowish. So they have 4 different blushes and they have like that marbled effect. But it's really interesting because if you see them in the pan, they're not how you think they would be when you see them swatched. I can't figure out which color is corresponding to which. But then they also have like some pressed powders as well. They say they're Glowish Luminous. So the pressed powder is $33 and the blush, which is by the way vegan, is $21.
Those blushes are like so pretty. I saw Mrs. watch those and I saw her like a little video on the Sexy Sauces just chat about this and they just look so stunning. They look like they're gonna be like that really pretty, like a not matte but not glowy, like a skin finish.
Yeah, like a dewy sort of a thing. Yeah.
And those powders, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're super expensive though. I'm not the one who usually goes with these, but they're pretty. Like that peachy shade of blush, it's like calling my name. Oh, they're all pretty, but the peachy shade is the like.
The 2 left shades of the blush are the ones that I'm like, that I like those. Yeah. It's funny because they have a brush as well, and the brush is $31, and I'm like, the brush, the all over face brush, is $10 more expensive than the blush. Which honestly, and only $2 less expensive than the pressed powder, which I found kind of interesting. But I know that Rebecca likes their brushes, so maybe they are like really good quality.
Yeah.
At least this time it's not like dual-ended, because that is ridiculous. Yeah.
We know how much Teresa hates dual-ended brushes.
I think they are a makeup abomination. It shouldn't exist. Like,
Abomination.
I don't understand them. They stress me out. Why? Why do they? Sorry. Welcome to my brain. Every so often I hit this point in a day where I think about dual-ended brushes and how much they anger me. And like, if I could have one law in the world, it would be to get rid of dual-ended brushes.
Yeah.
And and if you don't back me, I'm sorry, but you're part of the problem, you know? And when I put it to you guys in terms of the blushes, 57% of you were loving it. Do you know what? I think people are really loving blushes these days. Like, we're getting more like fixated.
One of my favorite things. But as you can see, I'm wearing pink blush today. And like, I love blush.
But you know what's funny? I think it's because like highlight had its moment like last year. Everything was like highlight. And don't get me wrong, highlight is great.
But I love highlight too. I can't choose. Don't do this to me, Teresa.
But I think that blush is heading up. Like people used to be like, whatever about blush, but I think it's like increasing in popularity these days, which I find really interesting. And then in terms of the pressed powders, it was a 50-50 split in terms of what you guys thought. Then we have Morphe, who are collaborating with Jaclyn Hill for this palette.
Is this new though? Like the Bold collection, this is very similar to the Ring the Alarm. Some of the shades are very similar. And the, what's it called? The other one with the greens and yellows and like browns. Like, I don't think they actually have done anything new with this. They've just come out with shades that she likes from the previous collabs. Like some of those, like the gold and the bronze, they look exactly the same as the palettes from the Bold collection. Yeah. Because I know I actually like those shades. They were really pretty. Just, it doesn't look anything new. I'm confused. Why do we need this?
It's $18, so it's not wildly expensive. I mean, it's not my color story. I'm not interested in neutrals, but I mean, let's be real. There's so many people out there who really like neutrals. This is definitely Jaclyn's sort of aesthetic these days. So, like, I look at that and kind of go, yeah, that makes sense for her. Like, I feel like she had a hand in this. So, you know, fair enough. The other thing that I found that people were getting really annoyed about was, oh, she has her own brand. Why are brands collaborating with each other? And I'm like, but this happens all the time.
But is this like a brand collaborating with each other? Because I think this is Jaclyn collaborating with Morphe, not like Jaclyn Cosmetics collaborating with Morphe. Yeah, same as like Manny was collaborating with Morphe. It wasn't Lunar Beauty. Like, you have to think about,
this is what happens when you call your makeup brand after yourself. Manny was able to distinguish himself because Lunar Beauty is not as obviously tied to him. Yeah. And that's where a brand can go wrong, is having their name on things.
I think people need to remember that there's still persons that, like, they're still influencers, even though they have their own brands. Yeah. It doesn't mean that they can't do collabs with other brands as themselves, not like a brand owner, but as themselves, as an influencer. So it doesn't confuse me. I like, in the past, it never has confused me, because I'm like, this makes sense. Yeah. You know?
But it's also, even if it had been a collaboration between brands, that's not unheard of. A couple of years ago, there was a collaboration between Too Faced and Kat Von D at the time. We see
a lot of indie brands collaborate with each other, so it's not like something unheard of.
Yeah, when I put it to you guys, 14% of you said that you loved it. Now we are on to Cash Beauty. So of course, this is the brand owned by Kylie MUA. She is Irish. It's always nice to see an Irish grown brand doing quite well. People seem to get quite excited about their releases. So there's a lot of kind of things here. There's some eyelashes, there's some lipsticks, there's kind of a 6-pan eyeshadow palette, and there's some glosses. And I think they're released now, or they are releasing. The palettes aren't for me. They're not my kind of thing. However, the lashes, right? I am obsessed with the style Trance from the Colour Trip collection. So much so that I bought 4 extra pairs because I
need actually, after my no buy, I'm gonna pick up another pair because I really like those, and I might even pick another pair of something else. They have like 5 packs also of lashes, so I'm very intrigued because they're very nice quality. They're like really curled.
Yeah, they're perfect for a glasses wearer, like, and that's what I'm looking for in a lash. So for me, they're great because there's a certain amount of drama in them as well. They're just absolutely stunning. I also like the look of these lipsticks as well. Like, they look very, very pretty. Like,
I feel like she does very well with like lipsticks, like lashes, like these kinds of products. I do wish, because she bring out like 3 6-pan palettes, I wish that there was even one that was a bit more colorful.
Yeah.
Because it's like, even though it's like the theme of this is like a vintage beauty, but there are people who really like color. It doesn't have to be like bam rainbow color palette, but like I do wish one of these were more colorful one and just like more neutral leaning.
Yeah, I mean, we do have to remember that the last eyeshadow palette she came out with was the Colour Trip.
Yeah, but still, like I still kind of wish,
like,
because it's the only colorful one that she has.
Yeah.
And I kind of like, I feel like after her, like she started Cash Beauty, and like, because I've followed her quite a bit, and her like looks that she did like previously were more colorful, more like she had way more color in her looks and like everything, and now she's more like neutral, and it really reflects her brand. Like it's more neutral, more like this grungy neutrally tones and like those kinds of things. And I do wish there was more color. Like obviously she has color. I like the Colour Trip palette, but I do wish there was a little bit more.
I think you see, when I put it to you guys as well, you were having a similar feeling, because only 23% of you said must have. And I think it's because a lot of you guys are also into the colourful aesthetic. So, you know, fair enough. But then kind of hitting our colourful aesthetic then is Made by Mitchell, who has come out with a whole chunk of stuff. I'm a bit confused about, like, it's a milk palette, he says. It's 25 pounds, 40 pounds. There's also the Graph ink liners, 12 pounds each. Some new blushes, which I hate saying that, a blending sponge, a makeup organizer case, all that sort of thing. Yeah, the palette itself, if you look at it, there's the shades there you could basically get out of the Tahiti palette.
I actually like palette, and I do see the comparison with the like Tahiti. There are similarities, but I think this has like it's more curated. It has like different vibe to me. When I saw just the palette on itself, I was like, I don't like it. But when I saw the swatches that they released, that's when I got interested, because those are the tones that I really like at the moment, like greens, grungy greens, mustards, a bit of pinks, and I feel like I could create a lot of pretty looks with it. Saying that, my 2 Mitchell palettes are not the most used in my collection. Like, there's nothing wrong with them. I do like the quality. It's just, I feel like how they are laid down, it's not inspire me as much. I do like that this palette is more like, you can see that he's going more towards like, this isn't so mismatchy. You know, the colors, the similar tones are like laid together. So I do like that. I can't see what does this have to do with milk or like that cow print thing. Like I'm a bit confused about that.
Yeah, I am too. I'm like, this came out of left field. What is this about? What, like,
Yeah.
it's a funny one because I think a lot of people weren't interested until they saw the swatches, and the swatches have kind of won them over. Now, I kind of think Mitchell's stuff is overpriced for what it is. Don't come for me, but there you go. I have the Mitchell palettes as well. I don't really end up using them. They're all right. Like, they're not awful, but they're not my like go-to palettes.
I feel like the shimmer formula is better in those than the actual matte formula, and the shimmer formula is really nice. I do like those. The liners though, I'm like,
yeah,
those look nice.
Yeah, I would be intrigued by the liners myself because I do.
I'm a bit confused about the white blurs, but I do now get it. Like you can mix it with other colors and make like lighter tones.
Yeah.
And all that. I'm intrigued by the purple one. I like to get into like a purple blush. I tried a couple of times, but it looks horrible on me. I feel like you have to find the right tone.
Yeah.
Of it to look not like a bruise on your face.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I'm so pale with like pink undertones that anything like purple just makes it look like I've been beaten up. And yeah,
I remember I tried not so long ago like a purpley blush, and I was like, this is a horrible mistake.
Oh
no. Like it has to be just the right tone. And I feel like purple blushes are more towards like deeper skin tones. They can look so pretty on a deeper skin tone.
Oh, they're gorgeous on a deeper skin tone. So like for that, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense that he's like extending the blush line, because I mean people are bananas over that.
I really like it. I want to get more of the blushes.
And when I put it to you guys, 62% of you said that you loved it. Then Suva have come out with a new 5-pan liner palette. It seems to be kind of like themed around their Halloween. So it's their Grunge Hydra FX palette, and that coming out it's already out. So they're UV glow colors, and they're $30 US.
I like it, but I think it has white and a black. Is that grunge color black?
Yeah, I mean,
and I have those already from Suva, so I wouldn't be picking this up.
Yeah, I think what's different here is
grunge is a brown color.
Yeah,
so it's not. It looks well. I kind of like this.
Well, you see, that's the thing. Like when you see it actually under the UV, it looks quite different, because say, for instance, Alt goes from being like that kind of a blue shade to more of like a purple, and then grunge goes from being black to a sort of a red. So that's quite interesting. The other shades are true to kind of what you would have expected, like the green stays green, the yellow stays yellow, etc. I do think that's actually that's quite interesting.
I like it, but probably not gonna pick it up because I have quite a few water activated liners already, and if I'm gonna pick something up, I'm gonna pick like a different kind of palette that I have more choices than this.
But I do think this is actually pretty decent. Like I don't hate it, and $30 for 5 shades, I think is actually quite good, all things considered, because Suva are kind of a higher end brand when it comes to these things, and it comes with a brush.
Yeah. And their brushes are really nice.
Yeah, they're lovely. So I think actually it's not bad at all. When I put it to you guys, 39% of you wanted it. The last thing we're going to talk about before we get to the sneak peeks is this absolute monstrosity. If anybody is watching Netflix's Money Heist, this is apparently the inspiration for this absolute shit show. Like, I can't actually sugarcoat my words on this. I hate this so much. This is NYX. I hate it down to the color story, the shape of the palette. There's no depth. It is actual genuine trash.
I've watched the Money Heist. I don't know how you can come up with a color story of it though.
No.
But this isn't it.
No. But there are shades in there that dupe themselves.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
This is just horrible.
I don't get it. It seems to be that this is part of their holiday season as well. So they'll be having it out for for Christmas. So if there's a family member that you really don't like and want to be passive aggressive to, I suppose get them this, because then, you know, the onus is on them to try and use it or like, you know, get rid of it. So you've given them a burden, really. That's exactly what you want to get people for Christmas. When I put it to you guys, I think this is definitely the lowest rating we've ever gotten. 4% of you said yes, and 96% said pass.
Fitting.
Yeah, seems about right. So we're on to sneak peeks. We literally, like, it is just peeks. We don't really know what's happening. Manny from Lunar Beauty has said something is coming, and it's coming on the 1st of October. So tomorrow, as we're filming, or yesterday, as you're watching. So we don't know what it is. All I know is I'm excited. And
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the last thing he came out with for Halloween was like the Book of Spells palette, and that was beautiful. Really liked that.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm intrigued to see what he comes out with for this. And when I put it to you guys, 57% of you said that you were really excited about it. So
I'm like, Lunar Beauty is one of the brands that, like, influencer brands that I feel like actually are doing something super interesting, different. Like the packaging and everything are like so on point there that I'm just, it's a brand that I'm always look out for. I only have like one palette from them, but I really want more. Like I want the Turner Eclipse, I maybe want the Moon Spell and like blush palettes, and I want to try their glosses. It's just that it's kind of on the higher end side.
And then the next thing is Beauty Bay were kind of hinting that they were going to do a collaboration with somebody, and then Jade from Little Mix was like, and tagged Beauty Bay in her story. So then everyone was like, oh my god, it must be Jade from Little Mix. And it does seem to be that is the case, because a couple of hours ago, Beauty Bay put out a post that said the stars are aligned, get ready for our biggest collab to date. Jade by Beauty Bay is about to land on planet Earth. Full reveal coming Monday the 4th of October, based upon a black and white picture that they've put out. Thanks to that's super effing helpful. White pictures, I'm like, why? Just don't bother. Just don't.
Yeah.
But like we're dealing with a minimum 30 pan palette.
Is this the same as they're now saying that they're gonna have like a the holiday release, like the Christmas? Is this gonna be the same, or are they gonna be different?
I suspect this is different.
Yeah.
When I put it into my stories, 58% of you said that it was very exciting. So, ta-da. Yeah. That does mean we're done. But before we finish up, I do have to tell you my favorite comment of the week. So this is a comment that I pick from my channel that has been posted in the last week that I found particularly funny. And it was actually left on the video where Daniela did my makeup, but it was the chaotic clips of the stuff that I cut out. And Missa says this: we should have had a B-roll of just my face in the corner, slowly descending into decay. That made me giggle, because she was like, I was sitting there getting my face done, like I was fine, it was grand, and she was the one who was like, like she was a neighbor. It was very dramatic. Like
it's like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Like I've always thought I was impatient, because I'm always like, oh, whatever, it'll do. But Missa, and she also got hangry during it and went off and got herself a roll. So that was because there were 4 hours of footage. But that was my favorite comment this week. So, you know, feel free to leave comments on other videos, because you never know, might get called out. But that's it. Do please like, comment, and subscribe to both myself and to Tia. All of the info is down below. Turn on that notification bell so that you can find out about all of the other stuff that I happen to do here. Do please share, because sharing is caring. Unless, of course, it's an STD, in which case, you know, wrap it up. That'd be gross. But that's it. That's the end of the video, and we will see you guys in the next one. Bye!